2 summers ago at the Ringley Museum in Sarasota, Florida. And so I had an opportunity to show in a Seminole exhibition with them, with Seminole artists again. And they chose 13 Seminole artists, and 9 were from Florida, and then 9 were from outside of Florida. And Catherine was one of those artists. And so we showed together. C-Max. All right, C-Max. All right. C-Max introduced me, or we met each other, and we actually took a road trip. I didn't even really know it. I didn't know her very well. We actually showed together a couple times, but we jumped in a car, and we were in Sarasota, and then she and a couple other artists had never been to Big Cypress. And so one of the artists was a professor, and I said, and they were talking about, anybody have a car? We can go ride around and look at the sights. And I said, no. And then one of the professors pulled out a credit card. She goes, I have a credit card. and then she goes, I'm going to get a car. And so we jumped in a car, and we took a 3-hour trip down to Big Cypress, and we got to know each other, and found out that C-Max is actually the cousin to one of my aunt. Yeah. And so we found cousins along the way. And relatives, and it was great. It was a great time to be with each other and just to figure out, what we're doing in our practice and who we're related to, because that's one of the major questions, and that's what being Seminole does right now and is right now, is that it's filled with questions. One of the first ones they're going to say is, who's your family? You walk up to a Seminole person, they're going to say, who's your family? Then they're going to rattle off who their family is. The next one they're going to ask you is, what clan are you? We'll see if you know your clan. And then they might give you a Seminole word and ask you if you know the language. And then the last one, though, is probably the most important, I think, and interesting, is that they'll ask you if you're either Florida or Oklahoma Seminole. Because we have 2 stories to tell. And both interesting and both different. And but really that's what the Seminole Continuum is about. It's about talking about those stories, talking about our past, talking about our culture, talking about our relatives. My grandfather spent many years in Florida, and I have a brother, an older brother who was about 2 years old, and he lived with my granddad down in Florida, and he never came back to Oklahoma, and he's still there. So